I like the democratic, populist, kind of rough and tumble media that is more about people's social interactions and what they're spreading. I really like that a lot. I'm Jonah Peretti. I've spent the last 9 years trying to understand how things spread on the internet, how ideas spread, why some things become popular and other things fizzle out. Right now I'm the CEO and founder of BuzzFeed, which is a viral media site where you can go to find whatever is taking off on the web and what people are sharing, what people are spreading. And I'm a co-founder of the Huffington Post, and I still advise the Huffington Post. So when I was in grad school at the MIT Media Lab, I was supposed to write my master's thesis, and I was procrastinating like most graduate students want to do. And I went to Nike's website. They just had launched this customization service where you could put a word or phrase on the side of your shoes. And so, being a smart ass, I thought it would be funny to customize a pair of shoes with the word sweatshop. They wrote back and said, you can't get this on your shoe because it is inappropriate slang. So I wrote back and I said, well, actually it's in the dictionary. It means a shop or factory where workers toil under unhealthy conditions. It's been in English usage for 200 years, so now can I have the shoes, And they said, well, and we had this back and forth. And eventually they said, well, you know what, we reserve the right to not deliver this order. And I said, well, okay, that's fine, but can you at least send me a picture of the 12-year-old Vietnamese girl who made the shoes? And then they didn't write back, And so after that, I read it and I was like, oh, this is kind of funny, reading the back and forth. I pasted it together and sent it to a few friends. They started passing it on to their friends, and then it ended up hitting hardcore activists who were involved in this anti-sweatshop movement. And it culminated in an appearance on the Today Show with Katie Couric, and I had to debate a Nike executive about sweatshop labor, which I didn't even know anything about. And so that experience made me think, how does this stuff work? How does it happen that if something's funny, or something's interesting, or something strikes a nerve, that it can go from 12 people to 10 million people just through people passing it on. And that became something that I became obsessed with and decided I want to start studying this. I want to make this into a career or an obsession. One of the things that BuzzFeed has is a algorithm for ranking how viral content is, regardless of where the viral traffic is coming from. So we can look at any piece of content in the universe and say, how viral is this? And know how much consumers are sharing it and passing it along. And one of the things that I noticed is that the spikes in how much things spread would always happen during the day when people are at work. And so I started to call this a bored at work network, where there's millions of bored office workers all across the world who are connected to high-speed internet connections. And they don't think of themselves as a network, but they're bigger than NBC, or they're bigger than the BBC, or they're bigger than any media network. And if they like something, and if they see it and are willing to share it and pass it on, it will spread to millions of people around the world. So figuring out how do you make media for the Bored at Work network became a project. After that, I launched something called the Rejection Line with my sister, who's a stand-up comic, Chelsea Peretti. And the Rejection Line was a phone number where if someone wouldn't take no for an answer and they kept asking you out, you could give them your phone number, and when they called, they get an automated rejection message.
Unfortunately, the person who gave you this number does not want to talk to you or speak to you again. We would like to take this opportunity to officially reject you.
After that, we did Black People Love Us, which was a website that looked like white people who were so excited about having black friends that they made a website to celebrate it. I told a few people about it and watched that as it spread. It wasn't clear whether it was a hoax or not a hoax, but it was just going crazy, spreading everywhere. But there's this quadrant of people who get the hoax and people who don't get the hoax, and then people who love it and think it's hilarious and people who hate it. And you see essentially people in those four groups. One of the reasons that I think hoaxes are interesting because they kind of help people learn, they trick people on one hand, but they also help people learn collectively like how to tell the difference between something that's true and something that's not true and something that's fabricated, and make people smarter about what they're consuming. Yeah, so I think a lot about the psychology of people sharing media on the web. Things like humor and cute kittens and something that makes fun of both sides has this universal appeal, but if it's still a little edgy, you can share it with everyone, but at the same time, it's funny and engaging or cute or meet some deeper sort of human need. One of the things that I've noticed is that the same person behaves very, very differently depending on the context. So when it comes to what people click on, people tend to click on things that are more lowbrow. You know, so if you're surfing the web and you see like, you know, Lindsay Lohan's side boob and there's, you know, and the headline, you know, you're like, well, I'm not really into that kind of stuff, but like I'll take a peek, you know, and you'll click the link. And because nobody knows you click the link. There's nothing social about it. It's just kind of your own interest, and it's a private thing to click it. With viral media, you know, sometimes people will say, oh, well, if you want to make something really viral, like, why don't you just post porn or something? But porn isn't viral because people don't want to share, you know, email porn to all their friends. You know, maybe people will click on it or search for it. They certainly do, but it's not usually viral because it doesn't tap into the social side of human nature of wanting to share things and pass things along. And I love that consumers have more power, or ordinary people have more power to decide what spreads and what gets popular, and that what people actually like and actually share matters more than what a couple producers or editors say is important. I like that, and I think that in a lot of ways it's better than having a kind of paternalistic, you know, editorial board be what determines everything that people see. It's just going to become more and more the way media is consumed, is that you look at stuff because your friends liked it, you know, and less because it was on the front page of a site.